Welcome to Mormon Book Reviews, where an evangelical encounters the restoration. I'm your host, Steven Pynakker, and before I get started on a special Tuesday tangent, I just want to remind all of you that this month's book giveaway is from my friend Christopher Thomas, wrote the book Unexpected, the backstory of finding Elizabeth Smart and growing up in the culture of an American religion, and the forward is by Elizabeth Smart. And he actually sent me 2 copies. So I just want, for those of you, in the description is my email, mormonbookreviews@gmail.com. In the subject heading, put in there book contest and leave me your name and address, U.S. residents only. This is our May book giveaway. Fascinating story, because Chris, of course, was the family spokesperson for the Smart family while Elizabeth was kidnapped. And it's quite an amazing book, and it gives you really interesting insights in a lot of things that happened that people didn't know about. So definitely worth checking the book. And it's actually doing pretty well. I see it's one of the top sellers on Amazon in the Mormonism category. So I actually had a really interesting weekend. This weekend was the dedication of the Sarasota Stake Center, which I was invited to attend. And I'm going to talk about that because it was quite a unique experience for me. Really special, pretty amazing. But before I do that, I just wanted to kind of do a little housekeeping just to kind of let everybody know what's going on with the channel. First of all, we've been doing really, really well. The channel is growing exponentially. April was our best month ever by far. We're picking up, dozens of subscribers a day now. So it's quickly gaining momentum. It is really one of the fastest growing Mormon podcasts in the world now. I can think of a handful of others that have grown faster than mine over the course of the past year. But it's pretty remarkable to see this tremendous growth. And of course, being an outsider, an evangelical, a nevermo, as we're called, it's pretty amazing to have the response, especially from, now, of course, a third of my audience is atheist. I have a lot of post-Mormons listen, but a lot of faithful Mormon church members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are also watching the program. And that's a real privilege to gain the trust of people. And that's what's so cool. And part of me being plugged into this world is I also get to attend conferences. So I just wanted to let everybody know this June, I will be attending the Mormon History Association conference. That is the first week of June. That's in Rochester, New York. I'm going to be talking to some people from Mormon History Association to promote it. It's open to the public. For those of you who are just lay people like me, you're welcome to come and register. It's really great because it's going to be taking place. The theme is the beginnings of Mormonism, basically, where it all started. And I'm going to have my first opportunity to finally go to Palmyra. I get to go see Joseph's home. I get to see Hilcomora, the Grand Inn Press, all these other things. People have mentioned to me I should take the Erie Canal tour as well. So that's what we're doing. I might be going to Missouri later this month to attend a Book of Mormon rally and symposium, in which I will probably be speaking at. I do, finances wise, folks, it's pretty tight. Usually when I go on a trip, my kitty's down to 0 or close to. I really, it takes me months to build up money into my account. So for those of you who'd like to financially support the channel, there's links in description. If you want to just give a one-time gift, you can help me via PayPal, as well as there's also Patreons, and also you could do the merch store as well. So I do need money for these trips too, because it's still out of pocket sometimes for me as well on this. I'll be probably attending Sunstone. I'll probably be attending John Whitmer. I'll get all reliant on if we're able to raise the funds to do it. And I've been invited to speak at the Sunstone Conference in the United Kingdom this fall. That will be the first time I will have ever been to Europe, and I got to get a passport. So, hey, if anybody knows how, the easiest way to get a passport, maybe send me links, because I haven't had a chance to look into it. Also, I plan on attending Rob Meldrum's Firm Foundation conferences as well. So this is what happened this weekend. Saturday, I went to the open house for the new Stake Center. And this territory covers a large area that is I'm kind of right in the middle of the territory that they cover. And I'm just a few miles down the road from them. And I was always fascinated by this building, and I thought, wow, this is really huge. It's like twice the size of a regular ward house in Utah, so it's quite large. And I was so intrigued because I didn't know what it was. I didn't know if it would be a stake center or not. But I actually, what happened was I posted that video out that I said, hey, I want to talk to somebody. I want to talk to the bishop, maybe other people, officers within, a 70 or mission president. I mean, I'd love to talk to all these people. And actually somebody reached out to me, and her name is Allison. And what happened was her brother, who lives in Tennessee, contacted her because he saw the video and said, hey, is that your building? And she's like, yeah. So she that's going to be her home ward, Allison. And she contacted me and then got me in touch with her bishop named Tyler. And we talked and really got great camaraderie. She wasn't able to make it, or her husband, Alan, to the open house. But what she did was she actually sent out my video of my appearance on Saints Unscripted to members of the congregation. So when I got there, I got to meet the Relief Society president, Shulin, and her wonderful husband, Tim, and they saw the video. And I met a lot of people who kind of, they knew who I was before I even got there. I felt like I was treated like family there. The people were so nice and friendly. And it was super cool because then I got to hang out with my homies, the missionaries, and they were really cool. And the very first one, well, I'm going to list the names of the missionaries that a friend requested that I'm friends with on Facebook because I couldn't remember all the names, but I remember Daxton and his partner. And I'm sorry, dude, you're a cool dude. I forgot. I did you make a friend request? So make a friend request. But I was talking to Daxton, was the first missionary and his companion that I was talking to, and really hit it off. They gave me a tour. I was with a group of people, and they gave a tour of the whole stake center. And it was kind of cool because I was kind of actually participating where I was also giving information about some of the paintings and stuff that were there. And so it was kind of cool. We had like a great dialogue. And then I got to meet others like Lane and Parker, who also friend requested me as well, and at least a dozen, and just had great conversations with the missionaries. Super, super cool dudes. And then it's funny because a few weeks before this all happened, I actually happened upon the stake center. I saw a car there, and I actually wasn't planning on, I was actually kind of got in my car with no plans. I was like, I got to get out of the house. And I don't even know where I'm going. I thought, I'm going to check out the building. So I just thought I'm going to go around and take some pictures. So I took some pictures. So those of you who's the thumbnail, I took that picture of the building that's in the background of the thumbnail. I took that picture. It was turned out really beautiful. And then I was about to leave. And then I thought, I'm going to just stick my head by the window and just kind of see what's inside. And I actually saw Kelly. She saw me, so she came to the door. And then Rick came a few minutes later and had a wonderful conversation. You could tell they're super, super busy. They're getting prepped on everything like that. So I'm really thankful that they took the time for me to kind of explain who I am and where I'm coming from. And they were very patient with me, and I really appreciate them. And they've been so nice to me. And so open house went great. Spent about 2 hours there. It was fun. I kind of wish now I had taken my mom. She would have really liked it. And then the next morning was the dedication for the stake center. And this is where it all gets really interesting. So I get there a little after 9:30, and Alan meets me outside to, excuse me, sorry, it's a little foggy sometimes. I don't know why this camera does this. Alan met me at the door and greeted me. And I was like, well, that's cool. He's a really nice guy. And I got to sit in the pews. And so you had the whole stake center is really big, and we had the chapel area where you had all the pews, and then of course all of you who've been, what I'm talking about, and then of course you had the cultural center / gymnasium where it was all folding chairs all the way back to the stage, and I even think there might have been even people sitting on the stage. That's how packed this thing was. So it was a packed house. Well, I had the privilege to be able to sit in one of the pews kind of towards the front. There were maybe like 2 pews behind me. So I was kind of in the back, and I was about the only person there not wearing a white shirt. I don't have any white shirts. I don't even have any ties. So I wasn't wearing a tie, but I was wearing a powdered blue, a little lighter than this shirt. Okay. And I sat with Alan and his family and his wife, Allison, by the way. She's the stake choir director. So she was up front the whole time during the service. And they did really good, by the way. Nice, really nice choir. It was nice to see the participation. And you had people from young kids all the way to older people, senior citizens, retired, participating in the stake choir. And they did a really nice job of singing some beautiful music and edifying the audience. So I'm sitting there. And of course, Elder Neil Andersen, one of the Quorum of the 12, an apostle, of course, he walks in, and of course, we all stand up. And I knew that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to stand up. So everybody stands up, and then he makes his way up on the stage. And it was really cool because a lot of people spoke. Of course, because it's a stake conference, they didn't do communion, but they did do testimonies. And actually, I would say the ratio of male and female speakers was about 50-50. So there was as many, if not more, women that were speaking than were men, which I thought was really cool. And then and even the closing prayer was done by a female. And so I thought, okay, they had a nice mix of male and females talking. They had the Stake Relief Society president speak, and she was really a wonderful person, just talking about her struggles, even the hardships she's faced converting to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and how it led to maybe like even some of her sisters kind of disowning her. But then she found another sisterhood, the Relief Society, that was a really important thing for her to help her in her journey. And so I thought she said some wonderful things. But really nice people. Great to hear people's testimonies and what their faith has done for them, what the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has meant to them, and they bore their testimony. So it was a privilege to be able to hear that. But it was funny because I'm sitting there, and I kind of make eye contact with Elder Andersen. And for a second, I thought, oh, I think he was looking at me. Then I didn't think anything of it. I thought, nah, I'm towards the back. He probably just happened to just coincidentally make eye contact with me. But later on, so he goes and gives his speech. And by the way, this is one, let me tell you, when I say I was blessed by him, this is one of the blessings I received from Elder Andersen, was he made a comment. He said, we were driving on our way here, and I saw this big mega church, and I'm pretty sure I know which one it is. And he said, and I just want to let you all know, evangelical mega church, he said. And he said, I just want you to know they are our friends. They are not our enemies, and we should work with them. And so I thought that was very cool for him to say that we're not enemies. And I hope and pray that my channel will also help facilitate that the evangelical community will maybe not one day also not look at the Church of Jesus Christ as Latter-day Saints as enemies, especially the members. These are good people, right? And so that was really cool. So here, there's this huge long line to go shake the hands with Apostle. And I went to Alan. I'm like, dude, this is a really long line. He said, don't worry, dude. I'll let you cut. I'll find a bro who will help me do me a solid. He didn't say that. I'm saying that. and I'll get you in line quicker. I'm like, okay. I felt kind of weird, but I was like, okay, I'm a guest, and this, so I'll just follow his lead. So I got to get in line, and I walk up to Elder Andersen, and I tell him, I said, I'm an evangelical Christian, and I just want to let you know, I really appreciate the kind words you said about my people this morning. And he looks right at me, and he says, he says, I saw you in sitting out there. And he said, and I saw that you had a spirit about you. You had the right spirit. He sensed something about my spirit. He sensed it. And that's kind of what he says. I don't remember exactly how he said it, because I was kind of dumbfounded that an Apostle one actually did see me, and maybe helped that I was wearing a blue shirt. Right? I kind of stuck out, but he did see me, and he felt like there's something like that I have a good spirit. And so that's what, of course, would be what people would say discernment. And so he was discerning something from me, which I thought was very interesting. And of course, folks, many of you know, a lot of things like this have happened to me a lot. All my life, literally, even since I was a little kid, I'd often would have pastors call me out or say things to me in the middle of a service, or say things to me, or give me words of knowledge or things like that. And I've also had this exact same experience in the Restoration as well. So to have an apostle bless me like that, that was really cool. And I remember I came down and I went to the missionaries, and I was like, dude, and I told him, I said, he told me that I had a good spirit. I had the right spirit about me. And their eyes just got really big, like, really? And I'm like, yeah. I said, just think about it. And then I went to him and said, but that happens to me all the time. I just kind of joked. But I want to say that, this journey that I'm on has been a spiritual journey. And I actually believe that when Elder Andersen said those words to me, that was confirmation from the Lord that I'm doing his work. And other people, I think, in one sense, also recognize that, which I find interesting. Elder Andersen saw something in me. I don't get it. I tell people, I don't get at all what people see in me. But I also know that throughout my life, people have said similar things. So I've spent most of my life running away from my calling, and but by golly, the calling caught up to me, and I guess I'm living that calling now. And so I believe that, in one sense, Elder Andersen gave me a word of confirmation. And so I'll forever be blessed by that. And so that was just a really cool experience to have that happen to me. And, this is the thing, folks. Now, of course, I got a lot of evangelicals that watch my channel. And some of them are like, what are you doing? Or some of them can be critical, although many of my critics have done a 180 since they've spent time engaging me in what I'm doing. And I just say, listen, the most important thing is it's not our role. We don't determine who goes to heaven and hell and all this kind of stuff. That's what he determines. Our place here on earth is to be Christians. And what does that mean? It means to follow the golden rule, follow the teachings of the Savior, fellowship with those that also exhibit the fruits of the Spirit. And I can tell you, I live in a Christian community, and I see Christians here that I don't see any of the fruits of the Spirit operational in their life. They're angry, they're gossiping, they are paranoid, they're full of fear, and I don't see any fruits. But then I keep on, when I went on Saints Unscripted, I said the funniest thing about the biggest surprise about this whole engagement has been as engaging the restoration, I just kept on running into fellow Christians. Now, I'm not saying everybody I meet is a Christian or every Christian that in my community is not a Christian. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that we have to go on an individual basis, on the relational level, right? And speak to people where they're at. And as God told me early on in this whole endeavor, he said, just remember, even if somebody you disagree with, they are a fellow image bearer. And so we're all created in his image. We all have that spark of the divine, if you will, by being created in his image. So we have to look at each other and respect the fact that people are fellow image bearers. The other thing is, of course, my most recent episode is where I had a panel on, and we talked about civility. And actually, what's so fascinating to me is there have been a lot of podcasters in my world, both in and out of the church, who have taken heed of President Nelson's words about there should be peacemaking and being a person of contention, being a peacemaker or a person of contention, that's a choice. And many of us have made the choice to be peacemakers. And as a matter of fact, Elder Neil Andersen, interestingly enough, quoted from the very segment that I posted on my channel for a 2-minute clip of President Nelson. He made the exact same observation. And so I think we're all heading in this track of civility and kindness and having these conversations, but at the same time, also talk about our differences. I mean, literally, we can do it that way too. I can talk about the issues I have with Mormon cosmology and the nature of God. But I was telling the missionaries this. I said, but I also say, when people think that there's a proper formulation that you have to understand about the nature of God or Jesus or whatever like that is what leads to salvation. I tell people, I said, you know what? I rarely discuss the Trinity. I believe in the Trinity, but odds are that if I were trying to describe the Trinity, like 90% of people who are Trinitarians, they would describe to you a form of modalism, which was branded as a heresy. So the reality is that many Christians don't even understand the Trinity and the nature of God as a result, because of their misunderstanding of the Trinity. So does that mean that because they believe a different type of God or Jesus, right, than Orthodox Christianity or Nicene Creed Christianity, does that make them not Christians and beyond the pale? See, that's the thing. We get into these issues, these deep theological issues, and it's fine. We can have those conversations, and it's important that we have them. But let's also realize is that when somebody goes to me and says, I love Jesus, Jesus is my Lord and Savior, and they confess with their mouth that Jesus Christ is Lord, I'm going to take them at face value. I'm also going to look for the fruits. And that's how I engage the conversation. And then, again, he makes the call. It's not us. And I think that's what's so important. I do get some criticism from evangelical apologists, and I've made every good faith effort to reach out to all of my critics. Both some are also LDS apologists that don't like me. I've made efforts to contact them and try to model the right behavior of bridge building. And these people are not interested in having those conversations with me. So that's a fruit that I also see. Okay. And that's not a good fruit. Okay. The fruit, because again, I'm a fellow image bearer, and and that's that, and they are too. And I tell them, I said, I still love you, even though you'll ignore me, or you'll contact me and then I'll respond and then it's crickets afterwards. I find it to be rude and unchristlike. I was attacked by a Christian apologist recently who never gave me the thumbs up. I just did it. I didn't think that was fair, and I didn't think that was Christ-like. I want to, but I do forgive him. I do forgive him, and I don't know what he's going to do. I think he's trying to make a name for himself, is what he's trying to do, trying to show what he is or is not, and he's trying to contrast that with me. And then, of course, let's talk about the good things. The good things. Think of what's happened with Jeff McCullough of Hello Saints. When I knew him, when he first came on the show, he had like 700 subscribers. So I was bigger than him, but I knew right away, like, oh, this guy's going to blow by me really fast. Now he's got like 40-something thousand subscribers. He's also building relationships with people of the Restoration. He went to General Conference. Same thing with David Boyce of 52 Churches in 52 Weeks. Now he's bigger than me, which is funny. But because his latest video a couple weeks ago went viral with his visit to General Conference. And so I think what we're seeing here is a new breed of evangelical who really truly is less about proselytizing and more about relational, less about trying to win an argument, but to actually have a conversation. And so that goes back to Elder Andersen, and that goes back to President Nelson. You have said many wise things, and I think there are many good things that you say that I think that everybody can take heed. And I think that civility and being peacemakers, being bridge builders, pray for those who despitefully use you, turn the other cheek, self-sacrifice, being selfless as opposed to being selfish, all these traits that we can try to follow the path of Jesus, right? And so just follow his example. That's really important. And whether we have theological disagreements or not, that's secondary. The most important thing is, what is your relationship with the Savior like? And how does it influence you and help you become a better Christian and be a better person? And also just recognize the importance of the sacrifice he made for us at the cross, with and what the atonement, and what that all, and with sanctification and all these things that are happening in one's life. Okay. Everybody's path, they say there's all these different paths. I'm saying, no, everybody's path. I say, all seekers find him. All seekers find him. Seek and you shall find. And so I think that when we say seekers, I think that can come in many different flavors and different ways that's beyond our comprehension. And so I think that the grace of God, the sacrifice that Christ did at the cross, and the redemption of all of creation, is part of what happened at Calvary. And so I think we need to look at a bigger picture. I think we need to also just recognize that we all do see through a glass darkly. And we also have to have what a friend of mine said, we all need to have epistemological humility. So I just want to thank everybody at the Sarasota Stake Center who've treated me so very well. We're very kind, very Christ-like, and it was genuine too. Folks, a lot of people, evangelicals, say it's fake, it's not real, and they're, all this kind of stuff. It's real. I get to see a side of individual members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. They feel that I'm a safe space. So I get to have the conversations that these other Christian apologists will never, ever have. And I get to go places they'll never go. I've been to the top floor of the church office building. Last time I was in Utah, I got to go behind the choir loft at the General Conference Center to see where the choir, the Tabernacle Choir, performs. Okay, I got to when I was in Nauvoo, Illinois, I was hanging out with Lachlan Mackay, who is a direct descendant of Joseph Smith and an apostle in the Community of Christ, and he had keys. And with those keys, he was able to take me into different places that nobody else can get into, the tourists can't get into. So I'm able to go into places and have conversations with people that many people won't have that privilege. And I have that. And I believe that's God's way of showing, Steve, I'm opening doors for you because you're doing my will. And I don't know how this works, folks. I just know I just follow what God wants to do in my life. So either way, I'm getting off my soapbox here. I know this is kind of a little long of a Tuesday tangent, but I thought it would be time for me to have one. By the way, folks, just leave me your comments. What did you think? And by the way, if you were a member of if you were there, leave a comment. Also, let me know what you thought. And then, by the way, the two missionaries contacted me today. I got a text from the local missionaries, so I'm talking with them too. We'll see where those conversations go. I'm just looking forward to having dialogue. And again, we'll be hopefully interviewing some of the local missionaries here, the mission president, hopefully do the bishop. If Rick, the stake president, would like to be interviewed, I'd love to interview him too. So there's just all these possibilities, you know, because I had all these connections with the institutions of the restoration, but now I'm getting plugged in the local community here on a relational level. I believe that God's hand is in this endeavor. So either way, don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification button for when a new episode comes out. Also, I just want to remind you that we do have the merch store, MormonBookReviews.com, where you can buy hats, hot chocolate mugs, not coffee mugs, hot chocolate mugs. You can buy ball caps and all sorts of assorted variety of items on MormonBookReviews.com. We are in the process of getting caught up with the audio for the podcast. We are on Spotify and iTunes and all the major platforms. My main focus has been YouTube, but we are getting our inventory caught up there. Anthony's going to be working on that too. And just remember, for those of you who want to enter the book contest, there's a link there. For those of you who want to financially support us on PayPal and on Patreon, again, I could definitely use some financial backing for my trips. These are important that I do them, but it does cost a lot of money to fly and stay at hotels, and I try to do things on budget friendly, but still it does cost money. So those of you who even want to make a one-time contribution on PayPal, please, I really appreciate any support you can give to the channel. And also Anthony is my producer. We are really grateful for those of you who are helping us in this endeavor as well. I hope to one day make this a full-time job. It's becoming full-time time-wise, but money-wise, it's still a part-time job. But again, I love it. And the most important thing is I love all of you. And I love all the feedback that I get. And for those of you, those prayer warriors in my life that are praying for me, I want to thank you for all that you do to help me in what this has become kind of like a ministry, but a ministry of good news about talking about Jesus with my homies in the restoration. Okay, I love all of you. Let's just talk about Jesus, and let's make that the center of our endeavor. And we can talk about our differences too, but do it in a Christ-like way. And that's the most important thing. But also, actually, the most important thing is this, folks. Don't forget, remember, all the voices of the restoration will be heard here on Mormon Book Reviews.